This is analysis of Ella's butterfly. So we can see here on the start that Ella does not tuck her chin all the way down. I really like to see her chuck that chin a little bit further down. This way when she comes off, explodes forward off the blocks, she'll be able to use the hinge that is her hips and really force her body trajectory out further this way, as opposed to, we'll see here, she goes more down this way. So what we want to make sure we do is we tuck our head and use our head to swing our arms and head forward and gain more of an upward and outward trajectory than our straight down trajectory that we gain here. We want to make sure we really think about tucking that head in the streamline. We don't want it to come up, because then it turns into another inefficiency where we lose or add resistance to our forward momentum. Ella does a very good job of pressing the T in butterfly. What we mean by that is that there's a T between her shoulders and her spine. And as a result, she pushes this T down with each stroke, which really forces her hips back up and allows her to stay high in the water. This is a pretty good turn, but again, we don't want to come quite so high out of the water. We also want to make sure we keep our shoulders and eyes square to the wall. Because she does such a good job of pressing the T, we can see that she keeps her hips very high in the water. One thing she can think about is trying to bend her knees slightly less. If she is able to bend her knees slightly less, she'll prevent this inefficiency at the bottom of our stroke, and we'll be able to see this much better on the underwater view. This is underwater analysis of Ella's butterfly. So as we discussed before, we want to make sure she tucks this head in her streamline. We don't want to see her create this negative resistance by keeping her head untucked. So we can see she does an excellent job of keeping her body position high in the water. She has a lot of natural power, which allows her to stay extremely high in the water. She does an excellent job of pressing the T, which forces her hands through the early part of the catch. And it also keeps her hips extremely high in the water. It limits her knee bend. We're coming off this wall. Again, we want to keep that chin tucked, and we never want to breathe on the first stroke. When we breathe on this first stroke, this causes our body to get very vertical, and as we can see, we expose ourselves to a lot of negative resistance to our forward momentum. We can see as she starts to get more tired that her hips drop more, and she starts to get a little bit more knee bend as she takes a breath. So we see here, after she takes that breath, how much her knees bend, which causes an additional area for resistance. So making sure that we keep the head in line with our spine when we take a breath, and keep our hips up and press the T is going to help us stay higher in the water and swim with more power and efficiency. It'll also help us finish our races much stronger.